Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our group final presentation. Our team consists of 5 members from different disciplines. They are Chloe, Lynn, Vivian, Bill, and Gary. Our version of placemaking is to strengthen the relationships between local people, improving the local ecological environment, and building a better future development vision through livable and healthy, affordable, and vibrant placemaking strategies. Our placemaking chosen area is within West Footscray. It is a diverse multi-ethnic area since 1980 and has a long industrial background. In terms of the issue of the site, the first one is about habitat and biodiversity because it lacks linkage between the scattered greenery and Stony Creek, poor performance of ecological resilience capability, and inadequate space for the living and breeding of diverse species. Also, the issue of traffic and mobility is the lack of systematic urban transport planning, including the lack of bicycle lanes and their discontinuity, less convenient public transport, and street elements that attract citizens to work outside. The third problem in the area is out of inequality. Inequality is reflected in spatial planning, where there is a lack of activity spaces and public facilities suitable for the elderly and disabled, a lack of social care for the homeless, and an uneven distribution of spatial resources.
We understand the stakeholder analysis, which identifies different stakeholders for the site. We importantly show the high-stakes stakeholders, including the local residents, local associations, natural stakeholders, local government, and state government. Based on this analysis and the users of site, we identify these following values, which included the align with nature, storytelling, comfort, and sustainable, and well as vibrancies. Our community engagement have designed as a three-stage engagement process, which begin with the inform and consultations, including the before, during, after stage. The fourth stage include the exhibitions, web survey questionnaire, email, the notifications to make residents to know more about the contact of communities. The decision makers could collect people's needs by the desk research, observe, interview, community bulletin board, and the next stage including the focus group resolving and identifying the critical issues, experience sharing sessions, the training courses, the project design competitions, the surveys face-to-face polls, informal and formal meetings, which could improve the resident participations and deal with the community conflict. The final stage provides feedback by the surveys face-to-face polls about people's satisfaction, regular report release to the supervise project, the implementations. And for the analysis, we established these following goals to guide our interventions, which included the habitat and biodiversity. We want to create connections between the deep green space and Stony Creek to restore the ecologies and promote biodiversity. For transportation and mobile goals, we want to reroute routes and provide enough infrastructure to meet the travel need of a variety of people. For the inclusions and inequalities, we want to reduce the negative impact on the communities and create a more sustainable urban environment for all people.
A total of 15 projects have been designed to address the 3 objectives, which will be supported by previous cases, take full account of knowledge from various disciplines and community engagement. So the first action about habitat and also for all is to build a green Melbourne laneway and increase the greenery area through the wall. The second one is to establish a road network. It means selecting roads to establish networks between green spaces and reserves. The third one is to renovate small spaces in the square, for example, under the chairs, and transform vacant land into community assets. The fourth one is to use rain gardens as small ecological circulation systems, which is to solve urban resilience. The next one is to add environmental affordance by multiply the complexity of ecosystem. Then is the actions about transport and mobility. The first one is to add pedestrian streets, cycling tracks, and street installations to encourage people to walk and use public transport. Next one is to use the combination of ecology rest area and bicycle parking area makes the public transportation system have a complete connection. Then is to make a digital mobile app. It includes a platform to obtain parking space data which can search for parking areas in different places and reduce the time spent by users on the road. Then the actions about the inclusion and equity. First one is to encourage the community hold more hiking activities like bike races and other fitness programs. Then is to develop acquisition, maintenance, and disposal strategies for abandoned space, working with community groups, developers, and owners to maintain vacant properties. Then is the unitized urban acupuncture strategy in abandoned space, and use the temporary projects such as art installation, public events, and meeting spaces. Next one is making step-free access to cover different travel networks, including bus and train stations. Then is using modular urban furniture design for sustainable and inclusive gathering places. Next one is to develop a comprehensive strategy to boost housing affordability and availability. And the last one is to collaborate with homeless agencies and community associations to help homeless people with living, health, and employment issues. The proposed effects of every action basically responds to the goals we put forward, and most of the issues could be resolved in our proposal.
We complied the potential economic, social, and environmental benefits of each action to ensure the sustainability of the project. The cost of action was also calculated based on multiple indicators such as error, distance, and number of visits. Because some projects are included in high-level planning system, like housing and transportation adjustments, so the current funding calculations include only those projects for which local governments are responsible for funding or fundraising. The evaluations and indicators for each of the actions previously proposed have been summarized in the table. However, since the target groups and stakeholders for ecological environment, transportation, and inclusion are pretty diverse, the formulation of indicators and evaluation criteria is based on the actual implementation of each action, which includes optimizing green space planning in the part of the site, promoting community activities, and improving homeless people's well-being. This type of action cannot be measured statistically, but requires statistic assessment using tools such as green factor tool.
In this case, we also made a timeline diagram. We have found that for the widespread practice of placemaking, there's a data shows that A main street project may take 2 to 5 years to complete. And innovative private development of a smaller project like digital apps or a public art installation in street, they both take 5 to 10 years to complete. The latter organization is mainly to provide help for these projects at this initial stage and participate in the whole process, including construction and maintenance. Through this course, we got to know the study partners of different majors, and we also learned how to teamwork, and we did all our work on our mirror board. So that's all. Thank you very much for listening.